Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 16 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. As I've mentioned, I am a little bit busy these next 2 weeks, both with exams and with preparation for regionals. If you're going to be at SoCal Regionals this weekend, definitely come and say hello. I'll be there all of Sunday competing, and I'll also be in Oregon next weekend. So really excited. Hopefully I can lock on my Worlds invitation in the next 2 weekends, and I'm still figuring out what I want to use, but we'll do a team analysis on the teams that I end up bringing. So in the meantime, I'm still going to try to upload as much Road to Ranked as I can. I'm just going to keep on using Jamie's team for a bit, and then I'll probably feature whatever team I end up bringing to the regionals, and we're actually just going to get started right away. So, going to find Nov Chicken from Illinois with a rating of 1721 to kick off this episode. And as always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. Would really appreciate it. Anyway, my opponent here is rocking a team of Salamence, Kyogre, Thundurus, Scizor, Kangaskhan, and Xerneas. So, 2 legendaries in Kyogre and Xerneas. Pretty common, obviously. Mega and Salamence and Kangaskhan, so 2 potential Megas. We both have Scizor here as well, which is interesting. And he's got Thundurus, so my Raichu can actually put in some work here. Now, you know, one combination that's really fun to use is Raichu and Kyogre, because the electric type attacks are redirected away, but the main issue with that lead here is that my opponent has multiple Pokemon with spread type attacks. Both, or all of Kyogre, Salamence, and Xerneas have access to a spread type attack, and all of them really use it. Dazzling Gleam, of course, Hyper Voice, Water Spout, or Origin Pulse, so not sure if that's the best lead. Gengar's pretty solid here, especially because it can Icy Wind and Sludge Bomb. So I'm really tempted to bring the Gengar here. I would want to watch out from the Thundurus. I could go for the common lead of Raichu Gengar, though I'm trying to deviate away from that since I feel like I lead with that a little bit too often. So maybe I'll go with Gengar. Let's see. Rayquaza's honestly not that great in this matchup, but I still want it for the Kyogre, the Scizor, the Kangaskhan, and the Xerneas. So I'll go Gengar. You know what? Let's just go with Gengar and Raichu, with Rayquaza and Kyogre in the back. Togetic doesn't offer me too much, I don't think, in this matchup, because he can Taunt and Thunder Wave. And Thunder Wave is basically the biggest issue if you're a Tailwind user. If you're running a Tailwind team, obviously Thunder Wave immediately just shuts your extra speed down on one Pokemon, and you have to deal with the paralysis chance as well. So I'm going to at least try to mitigate that away by having Raichu for Fake Out Pressure, and it can redirect Thunder Waves. And this is actually really ideal. He's going to lead with Salamence and Thundurus here, and I couldn't have really asked for a better lead because I can just Fake Out Icy Wind immediately, and his Thunder Wave won't even, you know, target down my Gengar. So he's in a pretty bad position right from the start, but definitely have to play this correctly because he could just switch out into, say, his Kyogre and go for a Protect. So now the question is, do I want to go for a Feint? For example, a possible play would be to Feint the Salamence and to Icy Wind, predicting him to Protect and switch out into Kyogre. And I'm actually going to make that play here. He could switch out Salamence too, but I don't know. I don't think you should really keep in Thundurus. You could Swagger or Taunt here as well, that's the thing. But Feint ensures that I get the Icy Wind off, and he'd have to pull off a double switch if he doesn't double switch. And he actually does withdraw the Salamence, so that was a good play there. Into the Scizor coming in. I'm okay with that. Let's see what Thundurus does. It looks like he's going to go for a attack. Thunderbolt? Superpower coming out, so physical Thundurus. But it doesn't pick up the knockout onto my Raichu. He's Life Orb Physical Thundurus. Interesting. I missed the Icy Wind on the Scizor, but I at least connect with the Thundurus, which is good. Not a 2-hit KO there, though. But his speed is decreased, which is the more important thing. Now, I do want to taunt the Scizor. Wow, I definitely was not expecting physical Life Orb Thundurus. I haven't seen that set at all in VGC 2016. So that's really interesting. Now, the thing is, he could bullet or Swords Dance with Scizor, which I kind of fear. Actually, since he did, I could Sludge Bomb Thundurus. He is slower now. He could Protect. So I kind of want to taunt the Scizor to prevent him from Swords Dancing. And I'm going to go for the Volt Tackle onto Thundurus. Oh, but he goes for the Thunder Wave. So maybe hoping that I didn't have Lightning Rod there. Special attack increase doesn't mean much. But he is going to Bullet Punch, so doubling up onto the Raichu slot. I like that play a lot. But that does allow me to get the taunt off here against Scizor. Given that he's got in Thunder Wave, Superpower, probably Electric type attack, maybe Protect still? Could bring in Kyogre, but now he can Thunder Wave me. Or I could bring in Rayquaza and go for the extreme speed. I like that more, I think. So he can't Swords Dance here either, which is good. But I can't really do much to Scizor. I mean, a potential play I could make here is go for an Overheat onto Scizor. I think he might Bullet Punch Gengar, which is the main concern. Yeah, I'm actually predicting the Bullet Punch. So I'm actually going to switch out into Kyogre, Mega Evolve, and Extreme Speed the Thundurus. But yeah, this game would have been a lot easier if he didn't have the Life Orb Thundurus here. That's actually a game changer. Because if he was the typical Thundurus set with like Thunderbolt, Taunt, Thunder Wave, and a filler move, then he had no way to touch my Gengar or my Raichu. So instead, because he was able to have that superpower, that gave him a huge opportunity to win this game. But still very even match here. I'm going to bring out my Kyogre. And we'll see how it plays out from here. Gengar does switch out first, but it doesn't indicate whether he's switching out or not, since Gengar is the fastest Pokemon currently, so we'll have to see if my opponent pulls out a switch. Maybe into Salamence? That'd be an interesting decision. Or maybe he'll stay in. Oh, he stays in. Okay, that's actually really nice. And the reason why that's nice is because now that he's taunted with Scizor, I can actually just overheat that slot or Dragon Ascent, and it's a free target this next turn. I should be able to pick up the knockout here with Extreme Speed onto Thundurus. Okay, no Protect coming out. Nice. Here's the Extreme Speed. Yeah, and with -1 defense and him being a bulk or physical Thundurus with very little investment as he was max speed, not going to be able to do much here. There is the Bullet Punch coming out, targeting down the Gengar slot. Perfect. Okay, so that was good. It was a critical hit there too, and for around 36 damage. And Scizor now is taunted. He's going to bring in Salamence. But that's okay, because I actually outspeed him with Rayquaza right now. But it comes down to what his last Pokemon is. And we haven't seen either Kyogre or Xerneas yet. Because I could overheat Scizor. Or I can Dragon Ascent Ice Beam. Actually, I kind of like that. I'm just going to Ice Beam and Dragon Ascent. Well, let's think this through. Yeah, I do have Gengar in the back in case this last one's Xerneas. I do want to double up on Scizor, but... Well, he is taunted. I feel like he'd Protect Mence, right? Water Spout. Dragon Ascent. Alright, let's see how this plays out. Does he stay in? He stays in with both, okay. Does he attack with the Salamence, or does he Protect here? I think he's probably attacking. I probably should have Ice Beamed. Okay, no, he protected. We're good, we're good. It's gonna go for the Bullet Punch. Smart play onto Rayquaza. It comes down to what his last Pokemon is, honestly. I'm hoping to see the Kyogre. That'd be better. So Dragon Ascent does okay damage there. But the main issue, one reason why Mega Mence is so good is because it outspeeds Mega Rayquaza. So he'll be able to outspeed me this next turn. You can Hyper Voice too, actually, which is probably knocks me out at this point. So let's see what the last one is. Coming down to the wire, but we're going to finally see the Legendary. My opponent's played pretty well so far. It's going to be Kyogre, okay. I think I'd rather see Kyogre here. The question is, does he have Thunder? Because if not, then I can just Ice Beam knock out his Salamence. I think. So here, you can Hyper Voice, you can Double Edge Kyogre, that's certainly a possibility. So I could switch Rayquaza out into Gengar, but then you could just Hyper Voice Water type attack. So I could Ice Beam here, and switch out into Gengar, but he might outspeed and Double Edge me. Yeah, the question is whether he's going for a Double Edge or not. I feel like Kyogre can survive the Double Edge, though. I'm gonna Ice Beam. And I'll Extreme Speed here. Okay, so no Protect coming out. This is basically the game decisive turn here. There's the oh, that's a crit. That does a lot of damage. I'm not sure how much of a difference that makes. It depends what he goes for here with Salamence. He does go for the double edge. I don't think that will knock me out. Okay, it doesn't, but does he go for a water spout? Or am I faster? Who's faster here? Oh, nice. Kyogre outspeeds. Gets the Ice Beam off. That's a knockout onto Salamence. And that's game, I think. Let's see what Kyogre did here. I assume it went for a water type attack. He did go for the Origin Pulse. So the reason why I don't think the crit really mattered is because Gengar is guaranteed 2 Sludge Bombs off. That's why I didn't want to switch in Gengar to conserve its Focus Sash, because once I knock out Salamence, then Gengar can take the Kyogre one-on-one with some extreme speed chip damage. I guess we'll see how much the Sludge Bomb does here. I mean, actually, no, it's going to pick up the knockout at this point. Like, he would have to survive 2 extreme speed, or 1 extreme speed. Of course, I was at -1, so that would have made a difference, but would have to survive the extreme speed, and then 2 Sludge Bombs from Gengar, and hope to not get poisoned after the first hit. So I'm going to be able to pick up a win here. I really don't... I mean, I kind of wish I didn't get the critical hit, just because I played the game with that win condition in mind, and I'm actually very curious whether it would have held true or not, because I know Sludge Bomb does just under 50% per attack, and then the extreme speed damage I think would have added up, but definitely got a little bit lucky there to make sure that it didn't come down to damage rolls whatsoever, so I do feel a little bit bad about that, but it is what it is, and that was definitely a really exciting game. I thought the physical Superpower Thunders was pretty crazy, honestly. Alright, we're back with the second game. The second game I originally had actually was a win, but my roommate walked in while I was recording, so I didn't get to fully narrate it, but we are actually just under the 1800s now, which is pretty exciting, so a win here might actually put us into the 1800s, which would be really nice. I know I haven't been taking rating as seriously as I really would like to, I mean, for a competitive player as myself, so it's nice to finally be picking up more wins and racking up higher ratings. I know in the first maybe 2 or 3 teams we were using, it's just kind of all over the place. I was like, hey, like, we'll play some games, like, see how it goes, but would like to take it more seriously and feature higher rated opponents, especially since a lot of the Japanese players are actually very high up on Battle Spot, so it'd be cool to run into some of them here and there. So I'm just going to wait and see what we can find. We actually do run into a Japanese opponent with a 17-18 rating, so win here I think does put us until the 1800s, and see what we get. Kyogre, Rayquaza, Gengar, Zapdos, Aegislash, and Crobat. So we're both rocking the Ray-Ogre combination, obviously. He's got a Tailwind user in Crobat. I've obviously got a Tailwind user in Togetic. Both of us are running Gengar. We do have an Electric type as well, so it's actually really similar team compositions, especially because his last one is Aegislash, which is a Steel type, and I've got Scizor. So pretty interesting to see that much. Now, I don't think I'm going to bring Scizor into this matchup. It's just not very good, especially when Kyogre and Rayquaza kind of just wreck it. We saw in the last episode, you know, Scizor kind of just stood there around Rayquaza and Kyogre, and it just kind of got wrecked. Or the last game, I should say. Raichu is always a really tempting lead to go with, especially against these kind of teams. Togetic's kind of tempting, but he's got an Aegislash and a Gengar, so I'm leaning towards no for that. So I think Raichu, Gengar, which is typically my go-to. Like, this is the most common 4 by far, but I don't think Togetic's good enough to bring in here. And nor do I think Scizor is. In a best-of-3 matchup against this kind of team, I would definitely go with this lead in Game 1, and then consider bringing Togetic in Games 2 or 3, just because it's definitely a Pokemon worth considering. It's one of those matchup-based Pokemon where if your opponent brings the counters to it, like if they bring Gengar, they bring Aegislash, then it really suffers, but if they don't, then it can really thrive and support the team. So, you know, in best of 1, you don't really want to take that risk because it can immediately render it useless, but we actually see Zapdos and the Rayquaza lead here, which I would say is pretty good, especially because I've got Raichu here for Lightning Rod. So this is actually really similar to the last game where I had immediate pressure. So I do want to feint an Icy Wind once again, just like the last game, and I think I'm going to just go for that play. I don't expect Zapdos here to be a physical-based Zapdos. He might have Heat Wave or Hidden Power Rise, but I think the play might actually even work out better this turn, but we'll see. I think it's highly likely Rayquaza might switch out, or nope, he's going to stay in. So both of his Pokemon are going to be eating up an Icy Wind. However, it should be noted that the damage output isn't as significant because Delta Stream will be up, so it won't be super effective on Zapdos, and it'll do only 2 times towards the Rayquaza. But he does go for the Protect, which is excellent. Had he gone for an attack, then he could have maybe gone for a Dragon Ascent, but instead now I get the speed, you know, I'm going to be faster than him next turn, and I could potentially switch out. So the feint here, working out perfectly. Going to break that Protect. Icy Wind does connect on both Pokemon, as you can see by the messages. And Still does a pretty nice amount there. Another nice play I'll be able to make the following turn is actually switch out into Kyogre and Icy Wind. That's something I'm considering. He does actually go for the Tailwind, though, with Zapdos, which I also maybe should have anticipated. I was so bent on the Gengar having Tailwind. The Crobat, excuse me. That's problematic. That is problematic. Now, I could Icy Wind again here. It depends on what Zapdos' other attacking move is. Since some Zapdoses don't carry non-electric type attacks, like they only go for Thunderbolt, and then you have like Tailwind, maybe Roost. I don't know. I would expect a Hidden Power Ice, but I can't really switch into comfortably. I mean, I guess I could switch into Kyogre and Volt Tackle. Or I could still just Volt Tackle. Or I can Nuzzle, actually. Why don't we Nuzzle here? I'll Nuzzle Icy Wind. He's just gonna Dragon Ascent. Okay. So if he doesn't have Hidden Power Ice on Zapdos or Heat Wave, then Gengar will get an attack off since it is Focus Sashed. But yeah, I should have considered the Tailwind play from Zapdos. I just was like, there's no way he's gonna have 2 Tailwind users on that team. And he's got Light Screen, interesting, but I don't mind that since I should be able to knock out the Rayquaza here. Actually, I'm not gonna knock it out since I don't think I'll knock it out here. I mean, I do get the Paralysis. And Icy Wind's gonna come out, but since he's got Light Screen, I missed the Zapdos. That one doesn't matter as much. Actually, no, the Zapdos miss kind of sucks because I could have potentially matched his speed there. So that actually really stinks. He can get an Extreme Speed off now. But once again, I don't think he's got another attacking move on Zapdos. I still don't think he can touch me, which is kind of the biggest thing. I wonder if Finn can knock out the Rayquaza. I don't think it will, but I kind of want to go for it. I could Volt Tackle Icy Wind here, since Rayquaza now is slower. Was one turn of Tailwind burned down as well. Actually, there's no reason to feint with Raichu. What am I saying? I'm just gonna Volt Tackle Rayquaza. So last one's Kyogre. So maybe it's actually better to Sludge Bomb here for some damage. Yeah, I'm gonna Sludge Bomb. He might Extreme Speed. Yeah, he's gonna Extreme Speed. It's not gonna knock me out, though. I guess he was hoping I was static or something, or he forgot about Lightning Rod since he just gives me the free boost. Though I could have Volt Tackled Zapdos. Actually, Volt Tackling Zapdos wouldn't have even been that good since the current's up still. So I do knock out the Rayquaza. The Zapdos is just a threat in this game in general. Since he's probably going to switch in Kyogre now, and he's got one more turn of Tailwind, which is crucial. Poison here would be great, but we don't get it. Okay, so this next turn is huge, because Kyogre is definitely coming in here. Or not. That's a weird decision on my opponent's end, but I'm not going to complain. Though I guess now the more I think about it, the more I realize my Aegislash answers are quite dismal. Yeah, I really wish I connected with Icy Wind. I could sacrifice both of my Pokemon, but I don't think that's a good decision. I want to conserve Raichu since he's probably got Kyogre in the back. And Volt Tackle would be instrumental in winning, but the question is, who do I switch out to then? I could still keep Raichu on the field since Zapdos is actually faster, but that's an interesting decision as well. I kind of want to do that actually. Go for the Volt Tackle and the Taunt onto the Aegislash. Exactly. That's why I stayed in, because I thought the Lightning Rod might work in again. Oh, but I am faster too. This is pretty good actually. Since I'm faster, I just get a lot of damage off here. I actually knock out Zapdos with Volt Tackle. Go Raichu. You are the man. But we might trade knockouts here. Yeah. But Aegislash is going to be taunted. Could I have played that better? Maybe I could have switched. No, I don't think I could have gotten much more out of that turn. I guess I could have switched out into Kyogre, but then he might have... No, he probably Shadow Ball there. Yeah, I guess switching out into Kyogre might have been a better play, but Tailwind is out now, and Aegislash is stuck in Sword form, since it is taunted. So it comes down to what his last Pokemon is. I'd assume Kyogre, anything else, and he loses the game. It is going to be Kyogre, at least. But, I can kind of just Dragon Ascent Water Spout, I think. right? Even if he's faster, like, my Rayquaza's the fastest Pokemon on the field. There's no reason to overheat Aegislash. I think, yeah, just Dragon Ascent Water Spout wins the game here. Since, I mean, even if he's got Thunder, he has to hope to hit the Thunder. I guess if Dragon Ascent and Water Spout don't KO, and he crits, I think the game's locked up though. Let's see. I wasn't expecting that last turn to play out the way it did, but you know that's why Tailwind's so awkward with really slow Pokemon like Aegislash. And in the game before, the one that actually got interrupted, I ended up winning, but I brought Togetic and it set up Tailwind, and it still didn't do anything because his paralyzed Mega Mens was able to outspeed me. So yeah, that's why you still have to consider Tailwind and the kind of Pokemon you're partnering it up with. And you know, it can be really awkward because we actually saw in the first game, my opponent had or actually no, that was the last game as well. But he had a Ferrothorn out with the Tailwind and it didn't do anything. So this is going to be the game deciding turn, I think. I'm going to Mega Evolve with Rayquaza, going to go for the Dragon Ascent. He's not going to protect with either Pokemon. Obviously, he can't protect with Aegislash because he's forced to attack. So Life Orb Dragon Ascent typically doesn't knock out Kyogre if it's remotely invested. But he's not even invested, or I crit him there. So RNG kind of paying back into our favor, but that crit was definitely unnecessary. I don't think any way my opponent could have won the game there. I guess if you have Thunder on your Kyogre, he has to hope to outspeed with Kyogre, hope to connect with Thunder on my Kyogre, and hope for a critical hit and a full paralysis. Actually, a crit might knock me out there. And then hope that, I guess actually if that happens, then yeah. So he'd have to have Thunder. If he didn't have Thunder on the moveset, any other attack, there was no way he could have won that one. And even if he had Thunder, you know, 70% chance of attacking, and then paralyzing, is it 10% or 30%? I'm actually not entirely sure if Thunder's a paralysis probability, but yeah, that was a pretty nice 2 games there, both of them not coming down to a crit, but we did get a crit to seal up the game, although I don't think either of them were necessary. I do think that puts us actually exactly onto the 1800 mark, so that's pretty nice. And yeah, I'll still do my best to bring you guys a couple of episodes these next few days. As I mentioned, I am busy preparing for regionals right now, but I'm still going to try to keep up the content. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was definitely a lot of fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to leave a like, as always, if you did enjoy it. Alright, peace.